So recently I was down at the Sunset Scarborough markets a couple of weeks ago taking photos for Drizzled, and usually what I like to do for them is I like to take some photos of their business and I will edit the photos, give it back to them for free, and in return I get that experience of, taking photos for a brand and, getting the experience of what it's like to shoot with different businesses. So I've taken this photo when they've pretty much finished their product, which is chocolates and strawberries. He's finished making the product, and I've shot this in a way with my 50mm in portrait. And the one thing I don't like about this image is that there is a very noticeable line that was in the image. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to just take out that line. This is a bit too harsh, and once I get rid of it, it won't be too distracting in the image. So I'm just going to draw a line down with my spot removal tool, and I'll let generative AI do its thing. Usually it blends it seamlessly now, so it looks like I would have taken it if there wasn't such a small, thin, distracting line there. But AI has done its job, and then I'll just go in just a little bit and take out some of the other details that are a bit distracting. So I'll just take out that blob, and I'll give AI a few seconds to do that. Sweet. Now that I've gotten rid of some of the distracting elements, I will look at putting a preset on it, just to give me somewhere to start. So I think I might go with something that's summer themed. And this is just mainly a starting point for my photos. It's not how I want my photos to end up looking, because some of them can be too oversaturated. But I do kind of like this teal and red edit, but it's way too harsh and it looks way too saturated. So I'll just bring that down just a little bit. And this is a good starting point for me with my photo. Maybe I'll turn up that exposure just a little bit, turn down some highlights, and I'm trying not to do too much over editing, if that makes any sense. I don't want to oversaturate what's going on my image. I might just want to turn up those reds just a little bit and turn down that luminance. And then those orange, which is the chocolate, and that banner in the background is looking a bit too muddy, if that makes sense. Turn on some decays, probably the other way, and then take out some of that clarity. And it's just those small edits that will turn a photo from something that was bland and a bit dull to something that is more boom and lifelike. On to the next photo. I was meant to be taking video, but with this one I took a photo instead. And I still like the angle. It kind of tells a story of maybe behind the scenes. Maybe they want this photo for their social media, so I thought it would just be a nice thing to get as well. The same thing, it does have that brown strand there of chocolate in the background, but that's not too distracting this time at all. So I'm going to go through and chuck a preset on it and try and find one that's matching with the blue and teal theme. So SM07, I'll use that one again, and then I'll do the same thing from before, which is just small little edits to make your photos just a little bit better. So I'm going to go to my reds and bump up the reds just so that is the main thing that stands out in the cup. And there's not too much chocolate being poured in there at the start, so I don't think that's going to change the colours too much. Maybe I'll dehaze it just a little bit and then take out some of that clarity. Then that way the attention is all on the cup and the hand. And with this one I'm going to mask it as well, just to give that linear gradient on the edge there with the line to match it. Just going to turn on those highlights up and give it a little bit of contrast and maybe give it some clarity. And then I'm going to do another mask, and I'm going to do a radial gradient on that. And with this time I'm just going to invert it, and then that way I'm going to draw attention to the subject. So if I turn down the exposure just a little bit, you can see how it's starting to make your eye focus naturally onto that cup and hand. So with that, you just get something that you're really happy with. So you get the before, after. This is another photo I had taken while I was there at the event, and I just like the way I shot it with the banner in the background and the way he's about to serve it to the customer. And let's do the same process I did before. So I'm going to start with another preset. So since SM04 is not really the kind of one I'm going for, I'm just going to try and pick something different this time. And to kind of match it, I think that SM07 is going to be just good enough. It's kind of got those blues, so that teal red edit that I did before. So let's just go to my edit and do, just like before, a few small things make the image that much better. So let's just turn down the contrast just a little bit. And same thing from before, I actually might want to bring up the saturation on the red just a little bit. And possibly bring it up with the greens, just so the banner pops out just a little bit more. And then what I'll do is I'll just change the saturation of the chocolate in the banner. Just dehaze it just a little bit. And take out some of that clarity to give more focus onto our subject. So yeah. So from that, small little edits make the big difference. So you got your before and after. Onto the next and last photo. So going on to this last photo, when I shot this, I just got the most perfect image, and I got the logo on the cup in focus, which, if you know what trying to catch focus is, sometimes it can be a pain when they're moving fast with the cup. But I was able to get the image, I love it, I like the banner in the background, I like the logo, I like the hand, and the strand of chocolate coming out. I'm just going to do the same thing from before, and I'm going to put a preset on it, just to get me to start from somewhere. So we'll go with the SM07 again, turn it down just a little bit. And now I'm just going to do the same thing from before, just do small edits. And going through it, you just want to look at it and decide little changes that will make, you know, the big difference to your images. So same thing from before, turn up those reds, turn up those greens just a little bit, don't make it too saturated, take out some clarity, and give it a little bit of dehaze so you can separate the subject from the background. And now I'm going to go back in and go back to my shadows, because they're starting to creep in just a little bit. So I'm going to take them out. And then one thing I'll do in this image is I'll put a linear gradient on, and I'll give it just that top mask to kind of draw your attention to the banner. So I'll take out some highlights and some of the exposure. Alright, let's see that. So we got our before and our after. As always, if you do like what you see on my channel and you like the photography stuff that I'm doing, if you like the video stuff, please go and check me out on B13 Photography Official. But until then, as always, I will see you in the next one.